everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in on you. I hope you guys are up and prepared to have a great day. For those of you who do celebrate Christmas, have a very joyous day. For those of you who don't celebrate Christmas, have an unbelievable day sharing time with your loved ones and sharing love with those people that you care and are concerned about. Make this a day that we focus more on our similarities than we do on our differences. And I will leave you with that. I'm going to be as brief as I can, understanding that some of you guys want to, definitely wanting to get into the day and do what you do. Those that are up, I know some people are sleeping in. Maybe they were up late last night. I know the kids had us up late, later than we would normally be up, but we enjoyed spending time with them. And what I want to talk to you about is real simple. First and foremost, I don't know what type of idea you get about people that you see consistently, whether it's on social media, YouTube, some form of media that has some form of media presence, some profession that they're in that has caught your attention, and you see them as something that you tap into. And I'm hoping that's what people see with me, is a resource, and that they can tap into, that they can gain from, glean from, learn from, grow from. And that's my goal, is to be impactful. But I spend a substantial amount of my time dedicated to being open and transparent and giving people a peek inside. Now, there are certain things that people aren't privy to and never will be privy to. That's my personal business. But you need to understand that there's the surface, and then there is the things that happen underneath. And the vast majority of who I am is what's underneath, the things that you don't necessarily get to see, the things that happen when no one's there. The fact that I'm up long before you see me, the work that I put in to become who I am so that I can be of use to those people who want to, glean from me. I have to put a lot of work in. I have to be committed. And in a part of being a public speaker, one thing that I've done since the age of maybe 4 or 5 is I've looked at people who were speakers, from Malcolm X to Martin Luther King to even Jesse Jackson at a certain period of time, Earl Nightingale, Zig Ziglar, Bob Proctor early in my early years. Then in the 80s, some other people came around. Somebody that I really, really still feel close to is Les Brown. But there's a young brother that hit the scene, maybe 7, 8 years ago, maybe a little less than that, that I absolutely love because I love his passion. Plus, I can relate to him, named Eric Thomas. Most people know him who actually pay attention to him and listen to him and follow him, know him as E.T. And on a daily basis, I'm probably going to study, look at, listen to, and learn from at least 4 or 5 of these guys. I'm reading books every day. I don't know if you've heard me say this before, but there was a point period in my time over a 10-year span where I started out as a challenge for a year, that in studying John Wesley, who had a major impact in the late 1700s, early 1800s, and it is known as the father of the Methodist movement, the founder of the Methodist Church. And he was very methodical, which Methodist, he was very methodical in the way he did things. And when he was trying to develop and grow stronger and become more empowered from a mental perspective, he decided that he would read 100 books in a year. And he did it. So when I learned that, I said, that's a commitment I'm going to make. I'm going to, already a reader, but I'm going to jump from maybe 30 books, 30, 34 books a year to 100. And I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to start taking speed reading classes. I'm going to start doing things. And then, I'll go back and I'll read it again. It's slower and take notes and make annotations and all the stuff I like to do when I read it, but I'm going to read 100 books. It started out as a 1-year challenge. I did it for 10 straight years. And then I stopped counting. I don't see the pace having slowed. I just don't count anymore. I know that I'm in more than 1 book a week, and it varies or whatever. However, the thing is, I do this in studying people. So Eric was on my list for today. You know, I kind of rotate and set up who I'm going to study, what topic I'm going to look into, what topic I'm going to read about, and what topic I'm going to watch videos and listen to podcasts on. And so I'm listening to Eric, and he's got this video in his spiritual development series. He has a spiritual development series, which is a little different from his motivational series. But he's talking about, in the title of it, which caught my attention, is To Go Plate. I'm like, okay, here he goes. And the point in his To Go Plate thing was, we have too many people that we allow into our lives, that come into our lives with a To Go Plate. They don't bring anything. They don't have anything to offer. And they're coming not to stay, but to load up their plate, take what they can take, and leave. And we'll wonder why we're diminished. We're wondering why, you know, we don't have what it takes. And if you get to the bottom of what Eric is saying in this, it's like a 14-minute video. You ought to go look it up on YouTube. It should be easy to find. He has a very strong power ranking on YouTube. But at the end of it, basically what it boils down to, and I think that is, you've got to create a circle with people who can execute. We are born into what I call an organic circle. People are in your periphery because they were there when you came into this world. Your parents, your siblings, or they are born in after you. Even your peers in school, you don't choose the school you go to, your parents choose it. So your circle isn't real. Your circle is more organic than it is selected. And so you have these people around you that may not mean you any good. They're there because of simple proximity, and you didn't choose it. But when you get to a certain age, now you're responsible for who's in your circle. And nobody deserves space in your circle as peers or authority figures. Now, obviously, if you've created kids, those kids are there. Those kids are a responsibility more than they are a part of your circle. What I'm talking about are those that are in there that you're communicating with and engaging, that have influence one way or another or impact in your life. Those are the people that I'm talking about. So when you start to talk about people in your circle, you got the organic circle you're born into. But the most important thing is the circle that you manufacture or create. It is not necessarily natural because it won't be built with people like the people you grew up around, unless you're at a place in your life where you were born into the optimal situation and everything's gravy and everything you need is exactly how it is. Everybody in your circle has always had your back and everything's great. You're going to have to make changes in the circle. And when you do, the environment will be different than the environment you're used to, so it won't be comfortable. The reason that it doesn't feel comfortable is because it's not familiar. Our bodies dictate familiarity in emotions, in expectations, and in so many other ways. And when we move outside of what our body is used to, we get this feeling, and normally we say it just don't feel right. And you heard me say this before, what you're actually saying is it doesn't feel familiar. It's uncomfortable because I'm no longer familiar with what I'm feeling. You're feeling supported, you're feeling encouraged, you're feeling inspired, and you're not used to it. You're used to having to fight off negative comments. You're used to having to sit up and figure things out on yourself. You're used to having to sit there and deal with stuff that is not conducive to the things that you say you want in life. And so when you get around people and they are striving in the same direction, they're not pushing and pulling against you. They're pulling you, encouraging you, elevating you, lifting you, and thrusting you towards the things that you say you desire to have. And the thing is, they understand something that you are coming into an understanding of. And that is this, that I don't get what I want. If I have a problem, and I'm a person that believes in the quantum reality, the quantum model, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, all of that, and how we are entangled and how we connect to the consciousness of this entire universe. You can call it the mind of God. I believe that we are that connected when we want to be, but the problem is we talk a good game through religious rhetoric, but we don't have the true connectivity through spiritual connection. And so that's the power. But my thing is that when you are trying to build this and talk about this, you learn to talk a good game, but you're not living. And if I have one thing that I have a problem with when I look at The Secret and what most people took as the law of attraction, is that it gave you the idea that if I make up in my mind that I want something and I think positive and I decide that I want it and I talk about it and I think positive, that I get it. And that's not the true nature of these universal laws that work together to produce things that you can create and manifest. Now you can manifest anything, you can create anything, you can draw and bring anything to you, but it's not based on what you want. And that's what I think we lost ourselves. And they brought it to such a simple level that it made it seem like if I want it, I can have it. No, what happens is if I want it and I'm willing to become, by being in alignment with the source, God, and then being what I need to be, then I'll have it. So you don't get what you want, you get who you are. You know, you can talk all day about what you want, but if you haven't become the person capable of producing it, you won't get it. And even if you are able to connive your way into it, you won't be able to hold on to it, because it is a level of existence in thinking and energy and vibration, in frequency and thought patterns and rhythm that you create, you sustain, and you move on. When you get something and you have it for a while and it's all good, and then something goes wrong, there was a disruption in the pattern, disruption in the rhythm, disruption in the frequency, disruption in the vibration. It happens to everybody. You got knocked off, but the quicker you recover, the less damage is done. When you don't recover from a frequency disruption and you find yourself on frequencies that are not producing the things that you desire in this world, then you have to look back and say, okay, I never recovered. What I went through took me out of the right frequency, the right pattern, the right vibration, the right rhythm. And now I'm on a different rhythm, a different frequency, a different flow, and it's bringing things to me that I'm not happy about. What do I do to change it? You change your thinking. One quick way to do that is back to the source of the theme of what I'm talking to you about. Have people in your circle that, first of all, will hold you accountable to functioning on a certain frequency. Have some people in your circle that will demonstrate the proper frequency. Have some people in the video I was watching with Eric. He uses a scripture out of John, and he's talking about when Peter went out fishing. And he said that the people asked him, he said, I'm going out tonight fishing. It was fishing over the night. And those who have done their research to provide historical context to the scripture understand that in that region, fishing was something that you did, and you were more successful at night. You fish at night. Now, what happens is they hear Peter's going out, so they say, I'll go, and they hop on and they go out with him. And the scripture says they came back and they hadn't caught anything, but standing on the shore at a distance was Jesus. And so, you know, he get in and they're coming in, and he asks them, and so he tells them to cast out their net. And in the end of the day, they cast out their net. Now, what I want to talk about here, and I don't want you to get in a religious state. I want you to get into a learning state. And there's a difference. I want you to get in a learning state. I want you to take how you can take from these things, how you need to be acting in order to perform, in order to execute. So Peter comes back, right? Let's not get on to, you know, none of the other stuff except let's learn from the story. All right, Peter comes back, didn't catch anything. Jesus at the shore. They see him at a distance. He said, hold on, stop. Don't come all the way in. Stop where you at. Cast out your nets. Now, I want you to really think about this. First of all, Peter took some people that couldn't execute with him, because they got out there and he didn't catch any fish. He was a fisherman by trade. They didn't catch any fish. Nobody executed. He comes back in with nothing. So going out all night, spent all this bait or whatever he's casting nets or however they fish back then. And now he's got his people, and he's probably drained because he's going out because that's how he makes his living. That's how he feeds his family. But he's out there trying to produce in order to be able to feed his family, take care of, and live like he believed he needed to live in order to be considered a man. But he gets there and nothing happens. Now, you have dry spots in life, so that's not the problem. But he comes back in and he sees Jesus, stop, cast out your nets. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Now, if you read the story, it says that Peter, you got to understand the thing. Peter is a fisherman by trade. Jesus was a carpenter by trade. Peter, obviously, by trade and experience, experience and expertise knows far more about fishing than Jesus. So you would think. But see, Jesus is an executor. He executes. See, now this applies to anybody that you're going to be around. He executes. He's not just talking the game, he's an executor. He executes what his plan, whatever he has, he executes. Now check this out though. Here's the humility in all of this that brings about the ability to learn from other people who can put you in positions and submit yourself to other people. See, we got a bunch of people that want to hide or stand on top of their expertise, their degrees, their years in service, how long they've been in the industry. They don't want to listen to anybody, and so they can't learn. They can't advance, and they shut down because there's not an opening for anything to come in to expand them. But what does Peter say? He says, we have fished all night and caught nothing. What is he saying? What is he saying? He's saying that during the best hours to fish, we fished and didn't catch anything. He's establishing that I do this thing. I know what fishing is about. I know when and how to fish, and I did it in the best way possible and nothing happened. But check this part out. He says, nevertheless, at your word, I know from my expertise and experience that this is not the best time. It's daylight now. It's not the best time to fish. But because I know you execute, I'm going to trust it. And he probably even said, what I had to lose? Throw the nets out. Now, you know the story. They caught so many fish, they couldn't get them in, almost sank the boats. Okay, what I'm getting at is, if you don't have people who can execute, people who are going to be in your life to execute, hold you accountable, and be the uplifters. And see, when you do that, number one is you start to also extract excuses from your narrative. See, a lot of us have excuses in our narrative. You know, this person did this person did this. And if I wouldn't be like this, if that person wouldn't have did that. But see, when you bring some people who execute in their lives, they got similar stories of what people did, but they'll hold you accountable and they'll extract the excuse because they'll tell you, even though they did it, you let them do it. And that's another point that Eric made, is that we love to talk about what people did to us, but we don't want to talk about the fact that we gave them permission to do it. When we invited them to our lives, when we told them they could bring a to-go plate. And you know, I love that analogy. People are coming into your life, bringing nothing into your life and convincing you that you have some obligation to them to bring something into their lives that you only have a limited supply of. See, you need to surround yourself with people who are going to come in and say, yes, I can bring this to you, and if you can do this for me, and then we're going to pour into each other. We're going to bring into prominence the law of reciprocity, where I give to you and you give to me, and then we're going to experience the expansion, the growth, the empowerment together. You're going to have some people that come in and you're going to see them and they're going to be up here, but you're not going to be intimidated by them. You're not going to be jealous or envious of them. You're going to look at them and say, they are the marker that tells me I can, because they come from where I come from. They've been through what I've been through. They've seen what I've seen, and yet they're still up there. I can look at them and see it's possible. But you got to be willing to trim your circle. You got to be willing to construct your circle with strategy. You need to know what you're weak at so you can find people who are strong in it. You need to know what you don't know so you can find people with knowledge in that area. You've got to make a consistent commitment to be in an environment where people are growing you and not sucking the life out of you. See, a lot of us live on this erroneous concept that because I'm a good person, everything's going to go well. No, see, everything is about decisions you make, commitments you make, things you do. It's about the things that you do. It's not about whether you're a good person. See, it's a bunch of people out there that understand this world and aren't willing to play nice. And they will look at you and see who you are and determine within themselves they're going to take advantage of your niceness. And they will suck the life out of you, leave you laying on the side of the road without any assistance or any idea of how you're going to get back. And then you're looking up and you're upset at them, but you invited them in. You got a right, and matter of fact, you have a responsibility to tell certain people no. And that means even some of us, it means our children. Saying yes every time is not preparing them for life. Saying yes when they haven't shown the propensity or the capacity to be appreciative and show gratitude for the things that are being done to them is not helping them. You've got to be able to know when you're doing harm by trying to do good. You've also got to know when somebody's in your life and they're shooting you a line of crap in order to take without leaving anything on the table. You got to think, we live in a society where if somebody tells you you got to pay for something, you know, especially within our own collective, we get kind of unnerved about it. We literally got this idea that somebody owes us to give us something that they've invested themselves in for free. Not understanding that that doesn't work in the law of reciprocity. Now, you may not be able to give me what the other person gave me. You may not be able to give me what I'm giving you, but you have to bring something to the table. And sometimes it's something as simple as gratitude. You know, gratitude is not presence in a mindset of entitlement. You got to know when somebody's sacrificing for you. It's a bunch of people thinking that because of who they are, somebody owes them something that they don't owe them, and that they are upset because they can't get it. And now that you have to be willing to bring something to the table. You know, I've talked to certain people that I wanted as mentors in the industry I operate in. And there were times where some of the people I contacted were high dollar. And I said, okay, this would not be a good time where I'm at and trying to do what I'm trying to do. This wouldn't be a good time for me to go off and throw that kind of money into it, but I need this person. So I go to them and I say, hey, look, I really need to talk to you for an hour. I just need to talk to you for an hour. I have some questions. I need your insight. This is what I do. I do content procurement. I do PR. I do, and I told them some of the things I do professionally outside of that industry. And I said, because anything I do inside that industry, they can get done themselves. They're at the peak of it. So I couldn't do anything for them in the industry that I'm trying to develop a presence in at the time. But what I say is I can do this here. I can go put this, I can do this on your site, and I will do this. And I tried to offer them more than what they would be giving me in that hour. I tried to offer them more than that in what I'm doing. So I'm bringing something to the table that I can give for what I'm asking for. It's an exchange, it's a transaction. And it can be transformative as well. But you've got to be willing to understand that nobody owes you anything. We've got to get out of that mindset that, you know, why are they charging for that? You know, well, my whole thing is, the truth is, you know, you say, well, the information you got was free. Well, no, not necessarily. You know, I've paid for a lot of what I had to learn. A lot of information I did get for free. It was free in the sense that I didn't have to spend money for it, but it wasn't free in the sense that I spent hours upon hours finding it and then being able to learn it. And then I'm going to remove that curve from you. You're not going to take through 2 or 3 years to learn it, to find it, to research it. I'm going to give it to you in this amount of time, whatever that is, a lot shorter. That's worth being compensated for. I shortened the curve so you don't have to. Now, if you want to go out and take the route I took and do it on your own, I encourage you. Go for it. There's some worth and value in doing that. But I also knew when I needed to speed up the curve and I needed to pay somebody to give me what I needed instead of trying to get it on my own. Now, some of the things I learned that I make a living on now, I learned by going out and getting it and figuring it out. But at the same time, the thing I learned is if I could pay somebody to teach me this, I'm going to save a whole lot of problems. I'm not going to bump my head as much, not going to fall as much, not going to have as many setbacks and delays. You know, but if you got to do it, when the option is either you got somebody or you don't, when you don't, you do what you got to do. But when you got somebody that can help you speed it up, take it's going to put you where you need to be faster. But at the end of the day, you need to have people who can execute. You need people who execute. And you've got to make sure you're around those people. We tend to gravitate to what we're comfortable with, what we know. And what we know isn't putting us where we need to be. We've got to get in a place where we are moving where we need to be. We've got to get in that place. We've got to get in that place. We've got to get in that place. That's it. I'm about to jump out of here. I just want to stop in and holler at you guys. You guys enjoy your day. Like I said, do this for me, because I know there's some that are going to celebrate Christmas, some that are not, and some that are going to be, I mean, just completely diametrically opposed to the even mention of Christmas today. Do me this favor. Make this day more about discovering similarities among the people you love than observing the differences. Let's look at that. Let's look at how we have some things in common. Let's look at the things that bring us together. Let's stop finding differences. We've been conditioned to see the differences in ourselves so much that that's what we focus on, and we lose the beauty of our connectivity. And that's what I want you to focus on. So I'm gonna get out of here. And I hope that, you know, all of you have an unbelievable day, and I'll be back tomorrow. I don't think I'm gonna come back, not at least in this capacity. There's a couple of real issues I need to attack, but I'm probably gonna do that on another channel. I may share it on here later. But anyway, have a great day. Don't forget, you can get the book. We're in our last 6 days of the free disc assessment promotion, where if you buy Critical Mass, my 20th book, that you get the free disc assessment, which is the $350 service. You get it for free. That ends Monday is the last day. Next Monday is the last day. So definitely get in on that. You can make it a late Christmas present to someone you know, or to yourself, or you can give it to somebody to help them move off into 2019, because we're about to blow up some things and just everything. There's so much that I'm excited about. Some of the things I'm going to keep to myself, and you'll hear about them when they happen. Some other things, you know, I'll keep you updated on. But look, make 2019 the year that you came out and tore up this world to rebuild it in a better way, and your impact will be measured and imprinted on this world for years to come. Make 2019 that year. As I always say, I'm going to live my life on full, so that when I leave this place, I die on E. I'm going to die on empty. That is my goal, and I'm challenging every last one of you to do the same thing. With that being said, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day.